Hello and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to one of our Roll With It training sessions where we are going to focus on upper body detail. The equipment you'll want for this session is a foam roller. I would recommend having a block or a blanket. This is just going to be to sit on along the way. Please have a tennis ball available to you and a stretch strap or something that can substitute. What we'll do is we're going to start with foam rolling and some deep detailed tennis ball work into the torso, under the arms, and around the shoulder blades. That'll be most of our time together, most of the session. And then we'll finish with some longer, static, active and passive holding to put some joints into position and let them settle in. So, as we get started with foam rolling, move the rest of your equipment out of the way for a moment. Grab your roller. We're going to do each body part for about 30 to 40 seconds. So please remember we want to use smooth, slow, controlled motions through the entire range of motion that we're working on for the body part. And in terms of intensity, we want to find an intensity that is moderate to vigorous. So on a 1 to 5 point scale, with 1 being nothing and 5 being pain, try to aim for something that you would gauge as a 3.5 to a 4 along the way. All right, I'm going to grab my timer to keep us honest on our intervals. And bring your foam roller to the base of your ribs. Cradle your head in your hands. We're going to be picking up our hips and starting by working with mid-upper back. So from the base of your ribs, you're going to move in a nice slow, controlled manner up towards the nape of the neck, right where that bony notch sticks out at the base of your cervical spine. So if you find any hot spots, or sometimes they're called little trigger points along the way, you can move through them a little slower, maybe take some breaths into them. Okay. We're going to take the whole 30 seconds to go up and down the spine here in this vertical line before moving around. Now lean to your left about a 30 to 45 degree angle. So this is going to be a switch where now it's a little bit more onto the left ribs and you're coming up over the left shoulder blade towards the top of the shoulder. And you might just be starting to kind of hint at getting to the back side of the armpit. You can rock from side to side a little bit here. And we'll take a few more seconds now. We're going to shift and go through center to the right side, about 30 to 45 degree angle. Okay. Again, so we're getting up across some of the ribs into the shoulder blade, just kind of grazing the back side of the armpit, moving up towards that meaty part of the shoulder, just above the shoulder blade. Couple more seconds here, then we're going to make a switch. And come on back through center. Go back to the left side, and we're going to come underneath the lats. So from the ribs just underneath the armpit, we're going to be coming in this up and down motion across the armpit onto the tricep. So I'll set my timer, and here we go. Top hand can go wherever it's comfortable. Bottom hand can either come to the head or out in front. And you're going to engage the intensity by either sitting on the floor and kind of sliding, which will reduce the intensity, or picking your hips up, which will increase the intensity. So give yourself a good gauge. Now from here, turn to the floor and place the foam roller in the crease between your chest and your armpit. Let's do this while we're here. You're going to lean up and over onto it so it's more body weight. It doesn't matter which side you started on. We'll get them both while we're here. But you're going to roll across the front of the shoulder towards the bicep. Get into the front of the armpit and onto the pectoral girdle a little bit here as well. So it's not a real big range of motion. It's more of a downward pressure of your body weight. And then while we're facing the floor, let's do the second side. So come on over to the other pectoral girdle. And again, you're gonna rock from the chest across the front of the shoulder towards the bicep. Kind of just a little bit of an up and lean of your body weight. And then after we finish this pec, we'll go to the other lat. And that'll take care of the big sweeping rolling exercises we'll do today. All right, I'm gonna turn away from you, so come on to the other side of your body. Let's do the latissimus dorsi area. So from the upper ribs, let's go into the armpit and into the tricep. Again, different parts of the body can be more or less sensitive. So as you move through your body parts, recheck in with your intensity and just keep it to that moderate, vigorous level and adjust as you need to while you go. A few more seconds here. Good. And come on up to sitting. Set aside your foam roller for a moment and grab your tennis ball. Here's the detail work. What we're gonna do with the tennis ball is take 4 spots of 30 seconds each. That's gonna start at the bottom tip of your shoulder blade, and then I'm gonna say move up about 25% of the way, and we're gonna crawl around the inner edge of the shoulder blade, in between the shoulder blade and the spine, ending on the top. And then once we've got one shoulder blade done, we'll head to the second. So as you come down into position, place the tennis ball at the bottom tip of the shoulder blade, and here are your options. Lay straight back for more intensity or lean sideways at a diagonal line for less. And as you come to position here, start with making just small side-to-side motions, maybe up and down motions like you're making a plus sign. You can make some small circles. And so you're working in an area that's maybe 2 inches, maybe a little more, a little less, into the soft tissue between the shoulder blade and the ribs right here. Okay. So you can move your body around. Imagine you're like a bear, like a big grizzly bear scratching its back against a tree. Now take your tennis ball along the line of the shoulder blade, in between the shoulder blade and the spine. Here's spot number 2. Go up and down, shrug the shoulders a little bit, side to side, make some circles. And you have this option, like I'm doing right now, to move your body, or you can also move your arm. Move the shoulder blade through space, like you're making shoulder circles or shrugging, or you can do some combination of both of those. Now let's move up to spot number 3. Take your tennis ball a little higher, so you're in between the line of the shoulder blade and the spine. And as you're here, you might feel kind of the top corner of your shoulder blade. You're in the upper half of it on the inner line of musculature and soft tissue in there. Good one, huh? The detail work? Yep. Maybe shrug the shoulder blade, maybe move your body. And we're gonna go to one more destination. Roll. So now you might see the tennis ball poking out on me. You're gonna get into that meaty spot right above the shoulder blade, and you can go horizontally a little bit more here. You can roll over the corner of the shoulder blade, between the shoulder blade and the spine, kind of almost getting up into just the nape of the neck area a little bit. Good. Roll around, find any more sweet spots back there for a few more seconds. And we're gonna move to the second side. So take your shoulder blade back down to the bottom tips of the shoulders on the other side, and start making, kind of find that soft tissue. Roll up and down, side to side, make the plus signs or the circles. You know, there's not necessarily a specific spot you have to hit. What we want to do is kind of be curious. Seek out where the sticky spots might be, where the sweet spots are under there, and just in general, massage into those areas. Let's move up to spot number 2, so go a little bit higher onto the shoulder blade. So you're in the bottom half of the shoulder blade on the inner line, between the line of the blade and the spine. Again, a little bit side to side, probably mostly vertical. Right. Yep. So this is that kind of more of that deep tissue sort of work. It might not be like the soft massage of sweetness, but it's that ooh, ooh, ah kind. Take a few more seconds here in spot number 2. Adjust things up and down a little bit as you need to. Go to spot number 3 now from the middle of your shoulder blade. Go up towards the top, right? So you're moving up along between the shoulder blade line and the spine, up almost to the corner of the shoulder blade. Again, remember all the directions you can make, some circles, plus signs, X's, you can move the arm. And we've got one more spot. Take it up towards the top of the shoulder, towards the nape of the neck, into that meaty part. Maybe a little bit more horizontal travel from your neck towards your arm, a little bit of vertical travel, maybe some pressure points near the nape of the neck. This will be our last spot here, our last foam roll, and then we'll do some dynamic movements and static stretch exercises to finish. All right, last one. So roll to one side, bring yourself up to sitting, and you can set your tennis ball aside. Whew. As we transition, maybe some shakes, wiggles, rolls, good stuff. And make your way onto an all-fours position. Hands are gonna be shoulder distance or probably even a little wider. Feel free to turn your fingertips out a little bit. Take your knees hips distance, make your spine nice and long. And now as we go through cat and cow, emphasize from the bottom of your ribs towards the base of your neck. Reach your heart forward as you hit your arms down, open the throat. And now as you reverse, try to separate your shoulder blades. Press your upper back to the ceiling into that space we just massaged. Alternate back bend. So moving through the chest, kind of initiate the motion from underneath the armpits. Everything else in your spine gets the benefit too, but for today's training session, do it from the mid-upper back as much as you can. Chest forward, collarbones broad. Draw the front of your chest towards the back of your shoulders as you press your shoulders open to the ceiling. 2 more times like this, nice and smooth, taking it to the end point range of motion with just a little smooth pause. Let's go one more time each direction. Good. And as you bring yourself back to neutral, let's come down onto our stomachs for a scorpion stretch. So as you come down, take one arm, maybe left arm to start with, hand to shoulder height or lower, not above. We don't want to get pinchy, so shoulder height or lower. And then roll onto the front of the left shoulder as you sweep your right leg behind. Okay? So as we come into position here, when we're doing upper body and shoulder detail, feel your left shoulder on the floor and take some breaths across the left shoulder into the left chest, using your right hand for support. And then some breaths from your left shoulder along the length of your torso towards your right hip. By dropping your right foot behind you, we get a nice little bit of some hip stretch, thigh elongation as well, but send the attention primarily into the chest here for a couple more breaths on this one today. Bring yourself back to center, realign your spine if it's scooted around a little bit, and we'll go to the second side. Extend your right arm out to the side, shoulder height or lower. As you roll open onto the right bicep, the front of the shoulder, support your weight with your left hand. Head can rest on the floor. And then breathe and elongate actively across the front of the shoulder, the pectoral girdle, through the torso to the hip. Let's take about 10 more seconds on this side. Make things fairly equal, fairly balanced from right side to left side. And then we're going to turn back to the floor, and while we're here, let's do a little bit of some back bending in a cobra position. So as you come with your face towards the floor, take your hands wider, probably off of a sticky mat if you're there, and point your thumbs towards your ribs instead of your chin or your armpits. We want to get some good wiggle room between our shoulder blades, our shoulders, and our elbows. And then as you pull forward, reach through the chest and lead with your chest to come up. It doesn't have to be high, but what we want to be aware of is instead of shoulders coming to earlobes, take the shoulders down and back and lift the chest. Now lower yourself back down onto the floor. Let's make that dynamic. So keep the elbows back, draw your shoulder blades down towards your hips, and pull forward, peel up. So that it's your chest and your sternum leading the way to the space in front of you. And it's the muscles of the mid-upper back helping to pull you into position. So as we do that 2 or 3 more times, see if you can make it a little bit more of a balanced effort with your back muscles pulling you up and your arms pushing you away. Let's do 2 more. Curling up. One more. And then as we lower down, bring the hands in a little bit closer, press up to all fours position. And we're going to come to sitting. We've got one more stretch. For sitting position, use your block, or you can sit on your foam roller. The sitting position we're going to use is just anything that's fairly comfortable. Put your legs in whatever position you want. Then I'm going to have you grab your strap, because the point of emphasis is going to be for the upper back, chest, and shoulders. So I'm going to turn my back to you so you can see the setup for our hands. Sit however you choose to sit, where you can make a nice tall posture. All right. Place your strap, left hand. Roll the bicep up, palm towards the ceiling. And then sweep this arm up overhead, trying not to disturb your posture while you bend your elbow down to the space behind you and drape your hand or your strap between your shoulder blades. Second arm, spin the bicep and thumb down and come from an underneath approach to hold on to the strap from the bottom or touch your fingers. It's going to depend on your body's architecture and setup. But use your hands or your strap to pull apart and create tension. Sit up as tall as you can. Head is pressing into the upper arm, upper elbow pointing to the ceiling, and you're rolling your upper bicep away from your head just a little bit into external rotation. Bottom arm is turning in, rolling internal rotation a little bit, and the elbows pointing down towards the floor. Can be a nice thing to add in some nice deep breaths here. Work your posture, help the stretch from the inside out by taking deep breaths from the top of the head down to the tip of the tailbone. Broad breaths from left side to right side to left side. And now slow motion, slowly release and unwind. Exit the position instead of running away from it. And we'll move over to the second side. So strap, second arm, bicep up, roll the head of the arm bone, take the arm up overhead, drop it down behind you. Second arm comes from underneath. Embrace asymmetries you might experience from one side of your body to the other, and use your strap or the touch of your hands to create some resistance, a little bit of pulling. Head presses into the upper arm, still tall posture. Second upper arm, bicep rolling away from your head a little bit, elbow to the ceiling. Bottom arm rolling in a little bit, elbow to the floor. And then very slowly unwind. Maybe give anything a little bit of a shake or a wiggle or a shrug as it might appreciate it. Set your strap aside, and we have one more position we're going to come into together. So for our final position, keep your block or your blanket for sitting on and grab your foam roller to lay it down. This is called a constructive rest position, and it's a static passive position. We're going to put the body into shape and just let it lay there for a moment. So you'll want to sit on either your blanket or your block to elevate your hips. And then you'll align your spine on your foam roller and your head. Right? So take a moment to set yourself up. Once you have your spine supported, kind of in between your shoulder blades, once you have your hips supported, you can do whatever you want to with your legs, knees bent, legs straight, anything. And then arms can drape open or rest wherever they feel safe and supported. And just allow gravity to do a little bit of the work to hold you into this supported chest expansion. Just make mindful micro adjustments if you need to along the way. It can be tempting to try and overdo this exercise. It's really one where we just purposely practice holding steady. Let the floor do a little bit of the work from the ground up. Let gravity do some of the work from the ceiling down. We're going to stay here for about between 45 seconds to a minute. You might find you want to stay here a little bit longer. You have the ability to do so. You could stay here as long or as little as you'd like, but we'll take a few more seconds here together. And then rolling to one side, press yourself up to sitting. And as you come back up, give anything a little bit of a shake or a wiggle or a roll yet that might appreciate it. And thank you so much for carving out this time in your day today to work a little bit of detail for the upper body. We'll see you soon. Bye.